Love Story.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the Love Talk Show where you can learn the intelligent love. I'm James, and here we are once again to spread the intelligent love, to bring to you the benefits of those who are living, those who are practicing the intelligent love. I have here with me Samwell and Mary Dunqua coming from Edmonton. How are you doing, guys?
Good, thanks.
Good, good.
Pasta.
Samuel, it's not the first time you're coming here, right?
No, it's not.
It's not the first time.
It's not.
So now you are more comfortable.
Feel at home.
Yes. How are you doing, Mary?
Very well, Pasta.
Good,
Thank you.
excellent. So just because we have assistants from Edmonton, Pastor Lucas, join us.
I came running. When I saw the program started, I came running. I need to participate in this.
Yes. So Pastor Lucas, as we are talking here, we have here this couple, and we already know their story, and we have here the recipe for a disaster. Because we have, a humanizer, a guy that, didn't believe in commitment, in relationship, and have, on the other hand, a woman that went through abuses and traumatic experiences. And how on earth, two people like that, they could be here to speak about a successful love story.
Only the Spirit of love,
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit, can do this. As we're going to know the story, people there are going to be amazed by the transformation that God can do in someone's life.
Most definitely. Samuel, let's get started then. Let's start with you.
Yes.
So who were you before?
My love life was very much distorted in my mind. The way I saw women, the way I behaved, my attitude towards them, my choices, my decision making, and the lifestyle that I lived. It was a mess. It was a mess. Not because I wanted it to be so, but all because of issues that I had within myself that stemmed from when I was a child. So
I'm sorry. Let's then start from there. What kind of behaviors you had towards your love life? How was your love life, if you can go through some details?
I was unfaithful. I was a womanizer. I was a cheat. I was a liar. I was conniving. I was a prey. I was a predator on vulnerable women. I was selfish. I only sought for my own need to gratify my sexual desires, my pride, my ego. So that's what I was. I was two-time, and even at one time I had 10 different girls at the same time. I was a sex fiend. I was very addicted even to sex as well, even to womanizing. Where's time that I can remember, going to a nightclub, getting one girl into my flat, after that, kicking her out, going back into the same club, bringing another one back home. And then even if that wasn't enough, I'll go even curb crawling with prostitutes. So that was a lifestyle. That's how bad it was.
And of course, we understand now the real reason why you used to behave like that. But at the time, how would you justify this behavior?
Very good. Good. Like I said, it started off well. I remember the first relationship I ever had was at the age of 17, 18. And I fell head over heels in love, so I thought, very young, naive, didn't know anything about love. So I gave my heart to the girl. She didn't break my heart in any way, but she left the country. She was from Switzerland. She was an au pair. So when she left, I felt, that's it. The love of my life is gone. So I became very heartbroken, after years of writing letters back and forth. Then it dawned on me, this is not going nowhere. You're not going to see this girl again. So I felt heartbroken, even though she didn't do anything. So in the days of my university days, I then started, trying other relationships, and then I got hurt again. And after a few times, I thought to myself, you know what, I don't want to be hurt again. Let me protect my heart. I'm not going to give my heart or surrender my feelings or emotion to anyone. But rather, I'm just going to play the field. I'm going to play the field. And eventually, one incident that took place that really changed the way I thought about relationship and even marriage was when I contracted STDs. STI, some may call it. And I said to myself, no way. From now on, then I'm gonna be the one who's gonna do the heartbreaking. I'm gonna try, and even a very demonic, distorted thought came to me that I'm gonna pass this disease onto as many women as possible. Because how can this woman do this to me? So from then on, the idea of getting married was out of my mind. I just wanted to sleep around, and and the strange thing is that the culture, I think, is probably worse nowadays, was supporting it. I mean, I'm not the best looking guy in the world, but women will throw themselves at me, and it just went to my head, it rubbed my ego. So I thought, it's easy to be done. Why stick to one person, one woman, if you can have multiple?
Yeah.
So that's
The
where
idea of love nowadays in
Yeah.
the world, right?
Yeah.
It facilitates all this. And you see, Pastor James, since he was hurting other people. And many people, they want to start a relationship, or they are already in a relationship, in a marriage, and they don't realize, because they never forgave, or they were never healed, they are hurting other people, like
Yeah.
Sammy. Look how he was going about taking revenge, saying, before they hurt me, I'm going to hurt them.
Yeah, though he was doing that on purpose, right? That it was intentionally. You're doing that, right?
it was intentionally,
Yeah.
because I felt hurt, so I need to hurt before I'm hurt again. And it even go worse. It go worse. I used to fight on the street, even women. I used to, abuse them. Even prostitutes, when I sometimes will pay the money, I'll beat them up and get the money back off them.
No way.
And I took myself to dark places where only God, by His mercy, for me to still be alive. I could have been killed many times. Even one pimp nearly stabbed me because of beating up the prostitute.
So can you see exactly as you were saying, Pastor Lucas? In his case, he was doing that, intentionally. But there are people that they are hurting others, and they are not, they are not intending to hurt people, but they do that because of that, because they are hurt.
They don't realize what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there are roots of unforgiveness, unresolved issues, past relationships, deceptions, disappointments they went through. And because they were never healed from that, they carry on to a new relationship. That's very dangerous.
Yes. And what about you, Mary? Tell us a bit of your story.
So for me, Pastor, it was growing up was very difficult. My mum came here on a legal passport, so literally we were fighting for ends meet. And I didn't grow up with my dad. Didn't grow up with a male figure in the house. I just saw my mum independent, fighting for survival. And the men that she did have, they really abused her. I even remember a time where they got into physical fights. And then from that moment onwards, my mum was just like, she doesn't need a man. And that's what I took. I don't need a man. I don't need anyone. I'm independent. I can make it in life by myself, fend for myself. I was very anti-men, and I didn't believe in marriage. I never saw any examples in my family of a happy marriage, of a happy home. Nothing like that. So, Pastor, my mindset was very much, a woman can make it by herself. She needs to be independent. She needs to strive. She needs to work hard. Marriage doesn't exist. I didn't even think that someone could actually find a suitable partner and be happily married. I didn't see any examples. And then it got to a point where at university that I started to mingle with friends who had boyfriends and stuff. So in a way, I got easily influenced through that. And then it was almost like the reverse. I was very tough and kind of independent. Then I became very vulnerable, very needy. Then I ended up in long-term relationships. Men would cheat on me. I still remained in the relationship. I remember there was a time I met someone on the bus. They gave me attention. I ended up in his house sleeping with him. Didn't know him from nowhere. So I had a very needy kind of person. I had an abortion. I was heartbroken. And it's almost like I was longing to be loved. not knowing that I was looking for it in the wrong way, in the wrong people.
So as a girl, you never had that dream, oh, I'm going to find someone, I'm going to marry, I'm going to have my own family, because this is a very common thing, especially among girls, right, Pastor Lucas? I believe every girl, not every girl, but most of them, they have this dream, they even play with dolls, one day. So that was not something in your life.
That only started to come into my mind when I started the church, to be honest, Pastor.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't actually believe that.
So when you say you were anti-man, you are indeed anti-man.
Yeah. For a very, very
I don't
long
need
time.
a man in my life.
I don't need a man, yeah.
I grew up without a man. By my mother, I didn't have a man around. We don't need men. But at the same time, later on in life, you became needy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you
Yeah.
didn't have growing up, you wanted to have, but you didn't know how, because she never saw, she never had a reference.
Yes.
Look at
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Two opposites, right?
Mm-hmm.
At first, I don't need, and then she threw herself in any man.
Yeah.
that
So
she could
probably if
find.
you have met
Yeah.
before, you would do the same to her,
Same
and she
thing.
would be another victim
Yeah.
of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what else, Mary? So you had an abortion. You had these
Had an
abusive
abortion.
relationships.
These relationships. I even dated men that were like double my age.
But Mary, I'm sorry. how is it possible? Someone that was completely anti-man, at the point, okay, I don't need a man, to subject to situations like that, being cheated on and continue a relationship, how we know, but trying to go back a little bit and see, ask that old Mary, what are you doing?
I know it seems quite bizarre, but I got to a point where when I started university and when I started to get attention from men, because before that time, we had a very poor upbringing. It was literally living off the bare bones. Then when I got to university, that's when I got my first job, working in the supermarket, which was earning a little bit of money. And then I got into, different types of friendships and stuff. Men would give me attention. And then I thought, okay, let me give it a try. Because my friends were also they were also dating men who were double their age as well. So they was like, come on, you can do this. And at university, you get very easily influenced if you're not strong, in your faith or anything like that. So then I started to give men, a way in. But then it's almost like I went too far the other side, where I was very emotional, very needy, very longing to be loved. And I think it wasn't the love of a man that I needed right then. It was the love of my father, but more importantly, the love of God.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for. So it was very premature, if you like. The men would show me attention, take me out and everything, but I also felt a deep sense of loneliness.
And you're
I
going
never
out
felt
with older men.
older men as well. Older men,
Right.
45. I was only 18,
Looking
19.
for father,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was
We
a
have-
father
yeah.
figure that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And because there was a man, I thought, okay, let me give them a try. But then they would cheat on me, abuse me. It didn't go anywhere, but I was in these relationships for 4-5 years.
Wow.
Just staying there, knowing that they were cheating on me, I would still remain.
Look at that, Pastor Lucas. So, you dear friend, try now to understand or to imagine, though you can see they together, but try to understand how these two end up here together. Of course, there was the whole process of transformation and the whole thing, right? Because sometimes, Pastor Lucas, what we hear from people is that, what I need for me to be healed, I need a new love. A new love will heal the wounds of the previous one.
Yeah.
But we can see the results of those who are seeking, for the new love to heal the
She
the old
thought
one.
she needed a father,
Yeah.
and ended up getting worse, right?
Yes,
You
Pastor.
didn't like men. You thought you didn't need men. When you gave it a try, it made things even worse. He thought he needed a new love because the love of his life went
Yeah.
away, and it made things even worse.
Yeah, that's the result, when you don't know what you're doing in your love life. Actually, in everything in your life, if you don't know what you're doing, probably you're going to hurt yourself.
That's why they need to be in the love therapy,
Yeah.
right, Pastor
Yeah.
James? That's when you heal yourself from these past issues, these unresolved things of the past, right? When you learn to forgive, when you learn intelligent love, like what happened to Sammy and Mary.
Samuel, how this transformation began in your life? Do you remember? Let's start by, I don't know if you remember that, but I believe that would be a very important detail. The very first day that you step in the church, I remember you said that your first experience with faith was attending a football match.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
By the way, we will have a football match now on the 22nd of May.
It was an event in a stadium, in a football stadium. So I thought there would have been some element of football.
Okay.
Being an avid football fan at the time. So I came, coincidentally, literally was God who took me there, because I had no intention of even attending, but something happened. I ran to meet one of the girls that was singing. I traveled from Birmingham to London. On last minute, she cancelled. So on the day that I was meant to be in London, I had no choice but to, attend to this event, because I had nothing else to do. And when I attend, then, I hated churches, because deep within myself, I had a grudge against God as well. I thought God was the one behind all my suffering, because the root of the reason why I became the way I became, because I was sexually abused at a young age. My mom died at the age of 7, so I blame God as to why have you allowed me to go through all of this. So it's not my fault, but it's your fault anyway. So the idea of church was a no to me. So when I came, though it was a church event, I was very skeptic, dubious as to what was going to happen. And then lo and behold, a gentleman from America came and gave his testimony, and he spoke everything that I was going through. And I even thought, did my mom, literally my stepmom, that is, did she bring this man from America to speak about my life in order to get me to church? Not knowing the guy was very sincere. I can see sincerity and genuineness.
Creative imagination.
So the stadium full, thousands of people there now. But my mom brought this guy.
It was a conspiracy. Thousands of people came together.
Yeah, just to bring me to the church. A bit of arrogance as well, but okay.
Big arrogance. But I saw sincerity in what he was saying. And even after the bishop made a prayer, the testimony touched me. Because at that time also, doctor had given me 6 months to die because my pancreas ruptured. I had a serious alcohol problem. And doctor said, if you don't stop drinking 6 months, you'll be dead. So his testimony touched me in the sense that I started feeling humble to give life a chance and to give God a chance. And it was one thing that the bishop said, is some of you here, you're not believing. Well, if you don't believe, that's your life. And that kind of like radical attitude that he passed on to, I was like, whoa, that slapped me. I said, there's a chance. Stop being proud. Stop being arrogant, thinking that you're everything. You're not. And that humbled me. And the following day, I made a decision, I'm going to this church in Birmingham. And I went on my own accord. Nobody forced me. And since then, I haven't left.
Sorry, was that in Buring?
In Buring.
How was your first day?
It was very humbling. It was surreal. And I knew that God was with me. Though I was facing death, I had many illnesses, addictions. I was very much insecure. I had many issues. But I left that place with the certainty that things were going to change.
What was the first transformation you experienced? Do you remember?
Deliverance. I needed to be delivered. For me, for sure, I needed to be delivered. The way I was, my spirit was not good at all. I was demon-possessed. My attitudes were bad. My character was bad. I had a lot of character issues. I was unfaithful, a liar, a deceit, a cheat. All the things I've done, I needed to have my spirit revamped. I needed to be made anew. And when I had my experience, when I was free from those evil forces, evil spirits, I left the church like a newborn baby. I felt like flying. I felt so happy, peace that I never felt before since a child. Because as a child, I was very boisterous, very playful, happy, and I never felt that way. I felt all my years entrapped within myself. So when I became free, it was amazing. I felt like hugging everybody on the street on the way home. And I knew that God was truly with me, and I knew that things were going to change. My life was going to be different. My vision opened because, like my wife was saying, my vision clamped. The idea of getting married was gone. Even my financial vision, aspiration, even the vision of living was gone. It was dead and buried 6 foot under within myself. So God opened my mind to start believing that life is going to be different. And I thought to myself, I'm going to give my life to God. It took me 3 months of being delivered, getting baptized, and then I received the Holy Spirit in the church. And since then, I never looked back.
But there are people, perhaps Pastor Luke said, they think, but 3 months, it sounds like a long time, 3 months. But how long were you surfing before that? Years of your life.
Years.
So
Years. 29 years or
29 years of your life suffering. And in 3 months, you already saw a difference.
And you can imagine that was the radical change I had to make, because I was down in the gutter. I was looking at death. Death was knocking down on it. So I had to humble myself. I believe God humbled me for me to come in and make this radical change. For me to see that it was by His power that I was going to live, and not by anybody else's strength. So yeah.
Mary, and how was that for you? This process of transformation, because how that Mary became who you are now.
So I remember the first service I came to was a Friday service with my mum. We actually came from my stepbrother. He was going through some spiritual problems, but I was also had my spiritual fights, and the Friday services really opened my mind that actually there were a lot of evil forces working around my life and in my family that came to the light. I was very skeptical though, Pastor, when I came. I would always keep my eyes open in the service. I was like, okay, I don't know when to pray for me or anything like that. But then as I kept on coming on Fridays, I realized that actually, in order for me to receive help, I have to allow people to help me, and more importantly, allow God to help me. So I was coming, I received my deliverance, and I would say the first kind of physical blessing that I received was in my financial life. And this was a big thing, because like I said, growing up, it was poverty, real poverty in my house, to the point where we would borrow clothes from people. But then my last year of uni, I was failing really badly. I believe it was a spiritual attack that I had as well, because I felt ill. I was hearing voices. The neighbor that used to live near us, she also abused me as well. So many things were going on. But then the campaign was announced. I took part in the campaign. I gave my student loan, and God really changed everything around. I went from predicted a third class failure to a high 2-1. And even my lecturers, my colleagues and that in the university, they could not believe it. So that was the first miracle that I saw in my life. And it was with regards to my finances. And when I saw that, I said, I'm not going to stop. So my focus, Pastor, was just on my financial life. Everything that I had lost in the past, I said, no, God is real. So now I'm going to become faithful in my tithe. Monday service was like my backbone.
It's like Sunday morning.
It was like Sunday morning and Monday.
Yeah.
I did not miss one. And even till today, I still attend Monday services. And God has like literally been blessing me. But I just didn't think about my love life. I let go of the wrong relationships. From coming on Sunday, I realized that I made those men my God. And God spoke to me. I had my own personal encounter with God. He said, let go of that and let me be your God. So then I received the Holy Spirit, but still finances. People would tell me about love therapy, come, invest. You don't have to come to look for someone. But Pastor, my mind was just...
Pastor James, can someone be in the church and not believe in love? The proof here.
Yeah, it's true.
Both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Because Samwell, Pastor James, I remember he gave him his testimony that you would never pray for your love life. You didn't want to get married.
I didn't.
Even as an assistant.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Do I remember right?
Yes, correct.
And the pastor had to force you.
Bishop James.
I was Bishop James. He had to, what did he say to you?
So he sat me down and said, I can see that you're very resilient. You want to do the work of God. I said, yes, Pastor. And he said, what about your love life? I said, no, non-existent. Is there anyone in the church that you like? No. Anyone outside? No.
And you were fine.
I said, fine. Yeah. And he said,
You
want to
were
do the work of
happy,
God
you were-
in the UCKG? I said, yes. Without a wife? I said, yes. I said, not in the UCKG. So that woke me up. And I knew that God was speaking, using him to say to me, you need to look after this area. You need to take care of it. And straight then I started the love therapy.
So, Samuel, so you were kind of pressurized to start attending the love therapy.
And it was a blessing. And when I came, I wasn't interested, I'll be honest with you. I had a complex. And the complex that I just had, my son was born. So I thought to myself, immediately I was looking at the physical aspect of things, that, who's going to want to marry someone like me? Because I knew that with God, it wasn't a case of dating like I knew in the world. It was marriage. I knew that. So who's going to marry someone with a baggage and history like me, and with a son as well? So that was one of the big hurdles in my mind that made me think, okay, don't. But anyway, I just went anyway by obedience, and it was a blessing, because I came to see the reality of who I was truly when it came to women, when it came to relationships. I came to deal with all the internal issues that were there. My heart was being healed already through the new birth, but there were still things I needed to change. My attitude, my precepts, concept that I've adopted since I was young, the way I was behaving. This all needs to be debunked, and a new spirit needs to be molded inside of me. And that took a good 3 years before I met my wife. So 3 years of attending faithfully, learning, applying, obeying, changing my ways. And I remember there was a purpose that we did with the pastor at the time, Pastor Lucas, incidentally, not yourself, another Pastor Lucas. He said, write down on a piece of paper what you want in a woman. And I wrote down everything to a T as to what I wanted. Lo and behold, not knowing, it was God literally writing my wife in my mind. And when I met her, exactly that's how she was. So that was God showing his power as well.
Exactly. And Mary, how was your journey in law therapy?
So it was actually through some of the assistants and the strong members that said to me, Mary, when are you going to start taking care of your love life? And then it was almost like, I think it was one of the Sunday services, the penny dropped. And God spoke to me and said, you're going to have all of this wealth, all of this money, and who are you going to enjoy your life with? Two are better than one. I'm here to complete you. When God spoke to me, I said, no, I need to start. So in the beginning, Pastor, I was very apprehensive, because I was just like, oh, people are going to be looking at me. You go through this, people are going to be looking at me. And I said, no. I put all of that aside, I'm going. And Pastor, when I started in 2009, and I said, I'm going to go to learn. And I'm going to go to let go of these kind of ideas that I've had, not believing in marriage. God revealed so much about me, so many things that I was not. If God was to bring the right person, I would probably destroy that relationship, because I was not ready. So I went 2009, like God really molded me, helped me. The love therapy was on a Saturday then. And it was the best year of my life. And I learned intelligent love. I learned that God has the man for me, obviously my husband, has the right person for me, and that marriage is a big part of a Christian's life. Absolutely. It's not something that you just put to one side. In fact, I learned after my salvation is my love life. So my priorities were wrong. Even as an assistant, I was thinking, okay, first, obviously, my salvation, then my financial life, and then love life was like way, way down the list. Then God really set the order straight inside of me. And I wasn't anxious. I took part in everything. We have the singles hour. Yep. In the beginning, I was just like, oh my gosh, standing in the corner. But I said, no, God, I'm going to do my part. And even if I don't see anyone, I'm still going to push myself, because I know that you will honor me. And when my husband came into my life, I was not expecting it. I was still just ready to keep learning, Pastor.
Okay, you were from Birmingham, right? Yes. Midlands.
Yeah.
And you are from?
North London.
North London?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were already there in Edmonton?
It's Edmonton, yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So how did it happen?
So I made a vow with God. When God made me assured that I was ready, and the time was ready for me to find the one, I was in the faith, of course, and serving there in Birmingham, and I saw a testimony, and as I was hearing the testimony, and God just assured me, that's the one. So, okay, so I turned around and looked at the screen, and I saw her, and I said, wow, that's the one. Indeed, that's the one.
That's my testimony.
That's my testimony.
One day we'll give testimony together.
The blessing has been delivered. I said, wow. So I spoke to my pastor at the time, and he spoke to her pastor, and he said, okay, go ahead and speak to her. So I prepared myself. We had a general assistant meeting at the time, so I came from Birmingham to London. And incidentally, she was just about to enter the auditorium, and so I quickly said to her, hello, you're Mary, right? I said, yes. My name is Samwell, I'm from Birmingham. Just quick question, are you in the faith to be blessed in your love life? And she was like, startled. Who says that? She said, yes. I said, okay, well, I'm interested. Can we talk after the assistants meeting? She's like, okay. So
very confident, huh? You called yourself the blessing. Are you ready to be blessed? Look at that.
Of course. But that's the spirit, because when you are ready, Well, you know, that's the secret. When you are ready, you became the blessing.
Yes.
So now you have just to find it.
And that's what called her attention, right, Mary?
Yeah.
What did you
Indeed.
think of that?
I
He
was-
coming to you like that.
I was.
Here's
mine
your
was
blessing.
blown.
Here's your blessing. Look at your blessing.
I know. Because initially when he approached me, I thought he was going to come and ask about my testimony because
Okay.
that's when I'd given it at that time. But then when he mentioned it, I said, wow, it really made me think. I said, he's confident. And I was like, okay, let's see.
But
You know?
a side note on that, this confidence doesn't come from me. It's for God's glory. I made a vow with God, and God humbled me and He revealed this to me, that anything that I did from the point on which I gave my life to Him was going to be achieved and done through His power. So me surrendering my all on the altar, and also I made many vows, many campaigns. I sacrificed my sports car, BMW. So I said, God, I've placed my confidence on your altar. So when the time comes, you are the one that will lead me to it. I don't want to date anyone. I don't want to go on no speed dating. You take me there. I want this to be your glory. I want to testify of your power.
But it's important to say that not because you were asking God to show you, to make it happen, that you were there just, arms folded,
Yeah.
waiting for,
Doing my
something.
part. I was obeying in every way, shape, or form that God was, asking me to. So this confidence came from the Holy Spirit. He showed me that that's the one, and I went in that confidence. Maybe a little bit too bold, but I still went for it.
But I liked it because it caught my attention. It was very different. Their
Yeah.
approach was very different. And I was like, he knows what he wants. He's a man who knows what he wants. And he mentioned LT. And I was like, if he's going to LT,
Yeah.
okay, that's what made me think, great, good.
You
You
didn't
know?
know him.
I didn't know him.
Never met.
And you see, Pastor James, sometimes people, they look around and see, and they say, oh, there's no one in church for me.
Especially attending the singles hour.
Yeah.
There's no one. You were coming to the singles
I was
hour.
coming
Yeah.
to the single hour.
And you were there, putting yourself out there, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
But you were doing your part. You were using your faith. That's
Yeah.
the secret.
That's
Yeah.
it.
They
That's it.
believed, they were using their faith, they were praying,
Yeah.
and they were ready. They were ready to be blessed. They were working on themselves.
But they just became ready because they started the love therapy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So Mary, okay, after the impact,
After the impact, then we spoke a little bit, and the conversation just,
Yeah.
when it just flows. There was no awkward silences. We just spoke as if we had known each other. And then he spoke to his pastor, I spoke to my pastor, then our pastors gave us the go-ahead to talk. So we started talking, then we gave the go-ahead to start dating, then we started dating, then we got the go-ahead. Well, then after that, we got engaged, but then that's when the fight really happened in terms of clashes with our families and stuff leading up to the wedding.
just tell me something, Samuel. When and how you were sure about Mary? When you really, because okay, you were attracted by what you saw in the testimony and everything, by
Yes.
the appearance and
Yes.
everything. But I believe that was not enough, right?
Yeah.
So I had to, through the dating time and
Yes.
everything,
Yeah.
you had to, okay, let me just make sure that she's the one.
Yes.
How were you sure? Because she was very insecure. She was, very problematic. What was, the key thing for you to say, she's the one?
Aside from God's word and assurance to me, I had to, of course, talk to her. So we used to spend hours on the phone talking. We'll talk to like 4 a.m. in the morning, just talk. And the conversation was just free-flowing, asking all the right questions that I learned from the love therapy as to, what things to ask for to make sure this is the right one. Things to do with character, things to do with, vision, future, aspirations. Does it match mine? So by asking all these questions, literally, she ticked every single thing that I've been praying for many years. The list that I wrote, she was ticking everything. God was making sure that everything was ticked. So that complemented what I already had in my spirit, that this was the one. And when I was assured of that, okay, then let's go to the next move. And I think then came once again a surprise day to surprise her in Edmonton and propose to her on the altar. She was amazed at that as well. And I think 2 years after that, we got married.
And what about you, Mary? Because though you saw that boldness that really impressed you, but what brought you assurance? Okay, he's the one.
As well as like what my husband said, putting into practice what I was learning in LT, like not just letting my emotions run. No, I would kind of study him, watch him around other people, get to know his family, really understood like his ambitions in life, his goals, seeing him serve as well, like really dedicated to the souls. We had this similar kind of interests. And yeah, so I really, everything that I was learning in LT, really putting that into practice, testing his spirit as well. And just really going to God to get that assurance from him, and not just, you know, making, because I made so many wrong choices before, and I didn't want this to be another wrong choice. But at every step of the way, God was giving me more and more assurance that he was the one.
It's like, though we had the blessing, so to speak, we're still not anxious to trying to jump the gun. We're still making sure that everything was right before marriage, because once we made that covenant, that was it. There's no going back. So we're still diligent to make sure that we put into practice everything we've learned from God, to make sure that, you know, not only are we prepared, but she's the one, he's the one, and God honored our patience and faithfulness.
I would also say, because he was very open as well about his past, about mistakes that he had made, how he wanted, you know, God has really changed and transformed him, you know, how he wants to start a new life, all these kind of things. And I like that open and sincerity. There's nothing that he
So
kept
when he
hidden.
spoke, for example, about his son and
His son, yeah, because before, to be honest, I said to God, I didn't want to be with anyone who had a son. That because initially I was just like, how would it be? How would it work? But if
so God confronted your list.
God,
At least this item of your
one
list.
has to be.
exactly that one. But it's been such a blessing, even you know, getting like being a stepmom. God really, you know, put everything together in the
So
right
that
way.
was never a problem for you.
It was never a problem.
It's a great
It's
blessing.
a great blessing now, even.
blessing.
And
He's
how
in
was
the
your
church.
relationship with his son?
Yeah, it's been really good, really, really good.
When I tell him off, he doesn't listen. But when she tells him off, he says, he obeys.
Oh, okay. So it's really well.
Well, that's when he gave his life to God. Now,
Yeah,
it's
now it's
born of
different.
God,
Yeah.
so
It's
now
different.
but-
Excellent.
Amen.
Yeah.
But one thing, Pastor James, we can notice is that when the time came,
Yeah.
when they met the right person, they were prepared.
Yeah.
They knew all the questions to make.
Yeah.
They knew all the ins and outs. It wasn't like before. That Mary, she surrendered herself to
Yeah.
this man.
Just jumping.
Or,
you know.
or he did everything wrong, hurting these women. They knew exactly where they were standing. And that's what they learned in the love therapy, in the church. They were ready. And when the right person came in, right? They were prepared. They found the right person. Everything worked.
Yeah, yeah. It does not mean that if you say, "Oh, but I don't have, you know, a dark past like that," so you know, I'm not. So I have to go through it. No, not necessarily, because the secret of their success in love life is not their past, but the opposite, but the good and better choice that they made after learning the intelligent love. You mentioned that you had a problem with the family, so not even that was an issue for you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm Ghanaian, she's Nigerian.
Okay.
And there's a
Yeah.
clash, culture clash.
The Jollof thing, right?
Not just a jollof, but the older generations don't like the idea
Yes,
of the
yeah.
two nations marrying. So,
Yeah.
you know, my dad looked her in the eye and said, I'm not giving my blessing to you. Her dad disowned her for bringing shame to the family. They just, and we asked them, okay, then where's the root? Give us one credible reason why we shouldn't marry. Just because we're from different countries. So that became a struggle to get a family together for them to attend to the wedding, or even the fathers to give the blessing for that matter. So once again we turned to the altar.
Yeah.
How we knew best. We turned to the altar. We fulfilled the vow that God asked us to do. And after that, God gave us assurance, go ahead. With them or without them, just go.
Yeah.
So we went in faith, not even having a penny or anything like that. We went ahead because we had sacrificed everything on the altar, and God honored. God blessed, provided everything. On the last day, last minute, all families came. Her father came running up the
Yeah.
stairs to give her away. They gave their blessings.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a
very
blessed
powerful.
day, joyous day,
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. And you are bringing honor to your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
What your parents never
Yes.
brought to the family, right? They only brought dishonor. What did they bring? What kind of honor they brought? Divorce,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Fatherless homes. What kind of
Yeah.
honor they brought? And they were blaming you. You were the ones who brought honor to your family.
But we knew
right?
there was something behind it. That's why we needed to go to the altar.
Yeah.
And today, the relation between myself and my father-in-law is amazing. You know, anytime I call her, she said, my son, my son, my son. You know, so it's wonderful.
It's
Amen.
can you see? It's not about, you know, a cultural thing, like, I'm Nigerian, have to marry a Nigerian one. All you need is to find the person that is suitable for you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what is the passport.
Yeah, because
nationality.
Your family is what?
Ghanaian.
Ghanaian. Ghanaians, when they marry to each other, they divorce as well.
Yeah.
Am I right? Or Nigerians, am I right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't mean it's gonna be right.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
Exactly.
nationality.
Exactly. It's about choices, when you make good and better choice. How long you have been married for?
9 years, going to 10 years.
9 years.
9 years this August.
August this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 9.
Okay.
We got married
Yeah,
in
they are a real couple.
2013.
That's a can you see?
Married.
Yeah.
2013. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
But
That's
can you
it.
see,
She's always right.
we can see that, that's
Of a happy couple.
yeah, a happy
You
couple.
don't even know how long they've been married for.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
We're not counting. We're not counting.
You're not counting. Exactly. Why? There is no need, because the vow is to go to the end,
To the
right?
end,
Yes.
Yes. So that's it. That's it. Samuel, what is your advice, to these couples that are watching us now? What is the secret of this successful marriage you guys have?
Let God write your love story. Let God write your love story. For those who are, not in the church, we know what the world offers, but God has something different, and you can see what God has offered or done in our lives. So let God write your love story. You've got nothing to lose by attending to the love therapy sessions. You will see for yourself. For those who are in the faith, for anything, if for nothing more, fight for your love life for the sake of your salvation. The fear that I have in my heart when I look to marriage is my salvation, because my marriage, is blessed in many ways, but it shields my salvation. That's the thing that I stand upon. So that's the word I like to encourage, I like to give to people.
Mary.
And just to add on to what my husband has said, I would say use this month of May as an opportunity to invest. Whether you are married, because some people when they get married they think, oh, I'm already married, but we are married, but we are also investing, and it's so important because if we stop investing in our marriage, then we leave ourselves open to evil working in our marriage. So we have to safeguard. So I would say take this opportunity to invest in the month of May and beyond. And also for those who are single and maybe who were like me, very distant, putting my love life to one side, I would say invest. Don't neglect your love life. It's very, very important. And come to the love therapy, because there's where you learn the tools, you get the strength, you renew yourself. And it's not even about trying to look for someone, because God will bring the right person into your life. Trust in him and he would, fulfill what he's promised to do.
Just first to finish here, what is this, or what are the side effects of marriage in your spiritual life, Samuel?
Wonderful. I've grown so much. It's unbelievable. And even family members have said, we've seen a huge change in your character since you got married to Mary. It blesses you to no end. It really, really is a blessing. It's a blessing. And everyone can see.
Mary.
I would say it adds, when you meet the right person who is of God, it really helps you grow in your relationship with God. You mature together, you read the word together, God, you have someone who you can, fight together with. You have someone in the right frame of mind. Like if I'm going through a problem, he's also going through the same thing. But we have each other to continue and go together. And it's such a blessing, and it's so closely linked to our salvation. And I didn't realize until I got married how important it is.
Samuel and Mary, thank you very much for joining us tonight and again sharing a little bit of your love story.
I'm happy to. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Pastor.
May God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.